Hello there, and welcome to the first spring edition of the Play Up podcast. And as ever, it's refereed by myself, Scott Mclachlan, and I'm ably assisted by, first of all, Jamie. How you doing, my love?
Hello, mate. You all right?
Good to see you again. Good for you to return to this pod.
Nice to
We
be
very
back.
much missed you. I'm also joined again by Reece. You good, my friend?
Very well, thank you. Lovely to be here again. Thank you.
Good, awesome. And lastly, but very not leastly, we're going to enjoy the wisdom of Phil. You good, mate?
I'm very hungry.
Very hungry. Okay. Well, we'll try and wrap this up as quickly as possible. Then,
roll
so
it
you can
along.
have your tea. I want very short answers. So we'll review the last two Pompey games and chew over the latest injury news. And I think it's fair to say that it's pretty much all bad, but we can dissect that a bit later. So first of all, we've got two games to review since the last pod. First up, Pompey followed up their away win at Oxford with a home tie against the now mid-table team QPR. When Pompey beat them at home early on in the season, QPR were fellow bottom three side, but they had picked up points regularly and sat comfortably mid-table when they arrived back at Fratton Park for a return fixture. Both sides had a couple of half chances in a very tight game in the first half, Ogilvie probably coming the closest with a glancing header from across. The game sprung to life in the second half, and Pompey took the lead with a terrific Murphy shot right into the corner. And then he stole the ball wide on the left and then drove into the box to cross for Ritchie to tap in at the far post. Pompey also had another Ritchie goal disallowed after a mistake by the keeper from a looping cross, but the referee said that Bishop had fouled the keeper, but it looked very soft. QPR got one back when a long ball saw Ogilvie crumble under the challenge of Dunn, who then lobbed the keeper for a cheeky finish. Thankfully, Pompey held on for the win, but they lost Atkinson to injury, and Matthews finished the game hobbling about in a striker role as we'd used up all of our substitutions. So another good win to back up our away win at Oxford, which was brilliant, and give us 3 wins on the bounce, which is the first time this season, obviously. Jamie, what did you make of the match as a whole? Obviously, it was great to get another win and really cement our surge away from the bottom 3, but it was, again, another very tight game.
So I missed the wonder goal because I was finishing a pint, but I also had to. I've seen it, several times on TV, on replays since. Wonderful goal. In fact, both goals were good. Ritchie's into the top of the net was a nice one as well. I thought the referee was disgraceful. I thought it was shocking. It felt like I don't know. Yeah, obviously I'm biased as a Pompey fan, but it just felt like every decision went their way. Their goal, the entire ground was just in disbelief. Their defender Dunn was allowed to basically climb all over Ogilvie, and the whole. I think even their fans thought it'd be stopped, and we were just stunned when the ref gave it. Yeah. So, but I mean, we won. So. And then I got drunk. So a wonderful day all round.
Yeah, good Saturday as usual, mate. Yeah. So yeah, I think you're probably right about the Ogilvie thing. What did you think, Phil? Did you? I mean, I didn't. From low down in the north lower. Sorry, I didn't get a really good view. I mean, obviously in the replays I saw from the other side of the ground. The guy climbed really high over Ogilvie. But was it Ogilvie being too soft, or was it probably a foul?
Well, my initial thought was, like Jamie said, I thought, how's he not been pulled up for that? But actually watching the replay, I had not necessarily sympathy for the QPR player, but I don't think he did a whole lot wrong. And I think Ogilvie should have been a bit more robust. But it's one of those, I've seen him given, I've seen him not given. But I wasn't as outraged when I saw it the second time round. I was more outraged by the comments of Wingerman, who I've not had a chance to mention recently. When Murphy's fantastic ball into the box for Ritchie to tuck away, we were all cheering and obviously, as usual, rubbing his hair and everything. And he turns round, he goes, "That wasn't a good ball." And we were like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "He wasn't aiming for Ritchie."
Well, it was. Having watched it again just before we did the pod, it was right across the 6-yard box, rolled right across. The goalkeeper almost fell over himself trying to, get his feet right to try and do something about the cross, and then Ritchie was left with an open goal. Reece, I think the last sort of 10-15 minutes of the match was pretty grueling for everyone, wasn't it? Because we were literally playing with 10 men. So it's a tip, brilliant that Pompey managed to get over the line and brilliant that we had that resilience. But do you think that not bringing Matthews off has has contributed to the injury and him being out? Do you think he might have been a lesser injury if he hadn't been made to stay on or chose to stay on?
I don't know. I think maybe if he pulled up or something like that, but he got injured in a tackle, didn't he? As they were attacking, and it just looked really, I wouldn't say clumsy, but I just saw his legs kind of go in a kind of very strange kind of crumpled state. So no, I don't think we should have necessarily taken him off. But I mean, what a game to lose two centre halves and who actually started to look pretty decent. So I'm not blaming the manager or anything. But yeah, it was a really nervy end to the another nervy end to the game, and yeah, Matthews did a great job just to make sure we got the win, but obviously we're suffering for it. Although I read today that Messino's hoping, whether that is optimistically, that both of them might be back come the end of the season, but we'll see, because I think he said 6 to 8 weeks for both of them on the injury, and that game was a week and a half ago, something like that. So it might have been a bit longer. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah. Damn, I
might have a bit of inside information on Atkinson, because as you know, I live on Stella Street, home of 2 Pompey players. Well, yesterday morning I saw Atkinson. Well, no, yesterday afternoon when I was picking my son up from school, I saw Atkinson come out of Colby Bishop's house. And, he's a big unit. He's a very tall man, and he has 2 massive dogs, and he was not hobbling. So hopefully, touch wood, the injury's not as bad as feared.
That's how rumours start. What time was he coming out of his? Was it first thing in the morning? Was his hair all ruffled?
It was. It's about 4:10 in the afternoon, and he was with his missus as well.
Crikey! Yeah. Sorry, Reece, I rudely interrupted you there, mate. You missed me.
I mean, it's not like there's a predefined window from 6 till 2 in the morning that people can have sex. They can't have sex in the afternoon or anything like that. God forbid. I mean, not after training or something like that. But I mean, but yeah, just.
Well, whatever they were doing, it didn't affect his leg. Clearly.
I'm not sure I like the way this is going, to be honest.
Can you steer us back to some football, Reece?
Yeah. But yeah, so hopefully they'll be back, and fingers crossed. Although I think Atkinson was calf, wasn't he? Which isn't naturally a hobbling one, but you never know. I was just thinking, Messino is obviously very truthful and honest and upfront with all the injury news. So who knows? Mm-hmm. Who knows? But the sooner we get them back, the better.
Well, they did delay the announcement until after the Luton game, didn't they? That both players were out for a considerable amount of time, and if we take let's say it's 6 weeks as of the game, if we fast forward to 6 weeks, that still takes us to, I think, at the earliest, maybe Portsmouth versus Derby at home, and then that means we've only got 3 games left. So we've got Portsmouth.
We'll be safe
Derby.
By then.
Well, that's the thing. We need the 3 wins to stay up. We don't want to leave it until the last 3 games, which is Pompey Derby at home, Norwich away on the Good Friday. And then on the Monday we've got Watford at home. Yeah, it's we really want to get 9 or 10 points before we get to that point, so that we can. Be, I think people were saying 48, 49 points is say 50 is what we're going to aim for, I guess.
A word of praise for Marlon Pack. I know he's much maligned when he drops into the back 4. But I noticed during the game, and this was seemingly without any prompting from the bench, he could see that Matthews was in trouble. He went straight over to him, told him to move up the pitch, and took over in the back 4. So, all credit to him. That's good leadership, I think, from captain.
Yeah, absolutely. For whatever people say about Pack playing at the back, and we can discuss ourselves further a bit later on that particular issue. He is someone who is, an accomplished pro and very good at leading a side and recognising when things need to be done on the pitch instead of relying on the manager doing things. So we'll go on to Luton. So a week later, Pompey went away to Luton. I went there. It was a shocking away stand. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Did you see that video of Westwood not getting in because his shoes were too big? No,
yeah,
no. You've got to show that shit.
So there was literally So what they've done is I can't believe they got away with this in the Premiership. All they've done is basically they've bolted a load of safe standing rails and seats to the original terracing. They've not reprofiled anything, which you're supposed to do. And I'm not kidding you. The gap between the two, the gap between the one standing rail and the standing rail in front of you is no more than 3 feet. So you can't sit down. You can put the seat down, but you can't actually sit down on it if you're an adult because it's too big. It's no wonder he couldn't get his huge shoes into the stand because it was anyone with a belly like mine, you couldn't get in anyway. So it's just a terrible experience, and I hope we don't go back there anytime soon, and they do get relegated and we stay up because it's a shocking stand.
Of all the reasons that Westwood's not been allowed into a football club, this has got to be A, the most polite, and B, the most amusing of all time.
Yeah. Excuse me, sir, can you change your footwear? No, I'm afraid I can't. I've only got the clown shoes. So it's it was a great atmosphere. You know, you literally stood on top of people. The match itself was absolutely shocking. I've not done a match summary on this one purely because I looked at the highlights and couldn't really see anything that was positive about the game. The ball spent most of the time in the air. Pompey couldn't really get into a rhythm. Luton scored a breakaway goal from our own free kick, and Pack fell over trying to clear the ball, which then bounced off the post, and it was tucked in. And then obviously we made some changes in the second half, which is a bit positive. You know, I thought Cade Gordon had a really good second half, really good 45 minutes. It was possibly our most dangerous wide player. But what I wanted to speak to you about, Phil, is that we possibly could have had 2 players sent off. Remember the first challenge by Dazelle, and then obviously the retribution tackle a bit later on in that first half by Murphy. Both of them were very high and very dangerous. And when I saw both happen during the match, I feared for the worst, really.
Yeah, on another day, I think they'd have definitely been given. I have felt that we've got a red card coming at some point soon, but I think that every week. I wouldn't have necessarily thought Murphy was going to be the recipient of it. Yeah, Dazelle's certainly was a lucky boy to stay on the pitch, I think.
He seemed really out of sorts, Murphy.
Mm.
That lunge at the player seemed to be the end of. I mean, he didn't last much longer after that. Mousinho took him off for his own good, I think, really, and also because he just wasn't playing at all. Do you think that because he got a bit of tasty attention from Luton that put him off? I mean, he's probably used to that in his career, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's been the most dangerous player, but I just thought, I'm not sure whether Luton got at him. I think it was just the state of the pitch was so awful. I mean, the amount of times the ball was bouncing, he couldn't get any kind of rhythm. It was like going over players' feet. I mean, it was an absolutely shocking pitch, and I think that contributed towards it. He couldn't really do what he'd done in the past. He missed control the ball, and I think it's just frustration. It's just absolute sheer frustration at the really shocking pitch. And it's like the stadium. How can that have been Premier League last year? I mean, I don't know whether they're playing to their strengths or not, but it was, it just wasn't his day. And to be fair, everybody was off that day. It was an awful game, one of the worst. But each team had one good chance. They scored up. We fluffed ours. So frustrating, very frustrating. But I think the pitch had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I think, Jamie, that we were waiting for that one chance, weren't we, in that second half? And the ball was flighted up to Ogilvie, and he rose like a salmon. And everyone around me had their hands in the air because they were waiting for it to hit the back of the net, and then nothing.
He headed it like a salmon.
He headed it like a salmon. Disappointing, Jamie. But do you think we deserve to get a point, or do you think that we just didn't turn up and Luton deserved the win in the end?
No, we were awful. We were rubbish. I just remember watching it, thinking we were just just lacking creativity. It almost felt like the yin and yang from Murphy had a cracking game the one before, so now we've got the other flip side of the coin where that lunge before he got taken off was just it was everybody kung fu fighting. Yeah, so we just didn't deserve it.
Yeah, so Phil, so when he chases games, sometimes Mousinho he makes that formation change where he tries to accommodate more attacking players. So we go 3 at the back and with wide wingers. So who did he bring on the left? It was
Bramble.
Bramall came on the left, that's right, and then he brought Kay Gordon on at half-time for Ritchie and switched Murphy and switched over those on the right. And I thought Gordon had a pretty decent game. He put in 3 or 4 of our most dangerous crosses. And I noticed in an interview with Mousinho this week, who said to him that the only thing he wants him to do if and when he comes on is just go at his opposition player. Doesn't want him to do anything else. Doesn't want him to think about how to play with the team. He just wants to get him to get the ball and go at his opposition player and try and beat him. And then whatever happens after that. And I think he did that quite well. Did you agree with that, Phil? And who else? He brought on Saydin, he brought on Yengi. It didn't quite work, but did you think that they played well as well?
I think what you said about Gordon's a good point as well, because I think where you've got these players that don't have a lot of big boy football experience, I think giving them a really simple instruction, telling them, right, you just concentrate. You can send someone on and you can give them all you've got to this, you've got to do that. It's quite daunting, I imagine, for a young player. So someone with a little less experience, tell him, keep it simple and do what you've done in training. I guess the answer is quite looking forward to seeing a bit more of him. You can see that he's a little bit further down the sort of the development road than Harvey Blair, for example, both sort of coming from the same club. So yeah, I'm quite excited to see what he can do given the chance.
Yeah, I thought his first touch was excellent. There was a few times where the ball was pinged into him from quite some distance, and there was no hesitation about the control. He got the ball down immediately, and you can tell that he's of that level coming through Liverpool's youth system. That control of the ball is a secondary thing. Is a second. It's something that they don't have to worry about. Whereas probably some youth players from lower down the pyramid still struggle with controlling a ball and have to concentrate on that before they can decide what their next move is. So Reece, we had to, I would say suffer is a bit harsh, but we had to have Pack at the back again. And although people have blamed him for the goal, I don't think it was his fault at all. What did you make of his overall game?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think the ball was almost behind him, and he just tried to stop the cross coming in, which he did. It was just unfortunate that it ricocheted off the post and when it was scored. I didn't think he was too bad, but I mean, I thought both teams probably. I thought they were just really bang average. I thought man of the match was Naismith. I thought he was really, really good for them, unfortunately, and as a centre back, ironically, and he was really, really, really good. But no, I mean, I don't think. I mean, we played okay, but it's just one of those teams. I thought it should have been a draw based on the chances. I mean, Schmidt didn't have any saves to make at all, and it was probably worst game of the season, wasn't it, on chances? But I've got a lot. I've always thought when he first came in, he's a bit slow, etc. But we've won some really key games with him at centre back and kept clean sheets. And I think that we are better with him at the moment. I question his legs and everything, and being in the middle and the kind of different nature of, or the more intense nature of the Championship. But I mean, I think he hasn't moaned once. He's just gone, done his best, and I don't think Saturday was his worst game at all by far.
I've just got a little bit of audio from Mousinho, which I picked up off the BBC Sounds by Andrew Moon, I think, has asked John Mousinho specifically why he's not playing Riley Towler as a left-sided midfielder alongside Paul. And this was his answer. So we'll just listen to this and we can talk about it afterwards.
When we first decided to do that, we looked at the pros of bringing Marlon in and playing him there, and I thought he did really well. If we looked at that initial partnership of Riley and Regan when they first came into the side, they did fantastically well for that 4-game run together before Regan got injured, and we wanted a bit more of that at the weekend. To be honest, I think Marlon's probably held his hand up. I think he can maybe do a bit better for the goal of the weekend, but apart from that, I didn't think I thought his performance was pretty good actually. So there's always things that we want to improve upon. We weigh everything up every single day, every minute of every day, and we live and die by those decisions. So that's something that we'll certainly look at going forward.
So you've just heard the audio of John Mousinho, obviously.
Yes.
So my question to you is, are we any the wiser as if he's going to play Towler on Sunday or not instead?
Instantly, when I heard that, I thought he has just said nothing. He just spent 60 seconds telling us nothing with a couple of cliches thrown in.
He's basically just said that he rates Pack more than Towler, to me. I mean, we are now, 12 games left in the season or 2 months left of the season, and he's still preferring to play a lumbering, albeit very cool, calm and collected centre midfielder as a centre back.
And we've got to remember that he sees Riley Towler in training every single day.
Yeah.
I have a slight, not an issue with Riley Towler, but watching when he talks about the partnership between Towler and Paul. Towler plays really well when he has a experienced centre half playing next to him, because he needs to be shepherded through a game. He needs to be guided through. He's got failings in his game that he needs to work on, which I'm sure he understands, and I'm sure the manager understands. I think my worry is when you put him with an inexperienced centre half, because particularly when he's played alongside Marlon, because Marlon's not he's always looking to go or looking or needs guidance from that sort of like more experienced player, and Marlon needs someone alongside him to take that responsibility away from him. So I can see why he's not playing Towler personally. I also think Towler his decision making can be a bit suspect at times. Not that Marlon's can't be, but I would be someone who would bow to the manager's experience of seeing him in training.
Okay, so I'm guessing we're looking forward to seeing Pack and Paul against the might of Leeds on Sunday. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Jamie, you going to say something?
Yeah, I saw a stat as well. I can't remember what the stat was, but I'm sure it said that we've won more games with Pack in defence than we've lost. I can't remember what it was, but it was a shocking. It surprised me, the stat.
I think it was 16 games. I think it was 16 games, and we've lost 8, won 6, drawn 2. So that's pretty much even. But we have lost half with him playing at the back. But I mean they would all be away games, and we had absolute shock. The whole team had absolute shockers. It wasn't just him. So, but we've played really well with him at the back at home. We've won handsomely. Yeah. Remember Coventry, remember Bristol City, remember Swansea. We've turned teams over at home with him playing at the back. So it's not. I think when the team are defending from the front well, I don't think it's the pressure on him is as much.
I wonder if it's not a case of not trusting Riley. Is it a case of having Pack's experience on the pitch but not wanting to put him in midfield? I have pondered on that, whether that's the reason that he does it. Because Pack's experience is amazing, and he's a really good passer. I still think he's a cracking player, and I'd like to see him in midfield more. But I mean, obviously, the manager sees him in training, like Phil said about Towler. He knows whether Pack's got the legs or he hasn't, but I do wonder if it's just a case of wanting that experience on the pitch.
Yeah, cool. Okay, well, thanks guys for that. Phil, I think you have prepared a nice little quiz for us for an intermission.
I do have a quiz. Yes. So I was looking back at previous seasons and who our top goal scorers have been over the past 25 years, and I thought that would make a good little quiz, wouldn't it? So I've chosen 9 random seasons, 3 each for each of you. I'm going to let you pick a number. I'll tell you the season, and I want you to tell me who our top goal scorer was that season and how many goals they got.
Wow. 0 right answers, but let's hope we get some close ones. Okay, who goes first, Phil?
Scott, as you're on the left of my screen, I'll let you go first. Pick a number between 1 and 9.
I'll go for number 7, please.
Number 7. So 2020 to 21.
Right.
We were in League One that season.
I would say that would be John Marquis with 9.
John Marquis was correct. Anyone want to throw in a guess at how many goals he scored?
He scored more than that, didn't he? I thought it was more like 19.
No,
Jamie?
surely not.
12.
16.
16. Well,
16 goals. He was better than you thought.
Yeah.
Reece.
Yeah. Number 8, please.
Oh, number 8. This was the 2005-2006 season when we were gracing the Premier League.
Oh.
Easy, surely.
I was going to say something like 2004, did you say?
No, 2005 to 2006.
Right, so that's our second season in the Premiership, isn't it? Crikey. I know Ben Jarney.
No. Anyone else want to hazard a guess?
Is it Yakubu?
It is not Yakubu.
What?
Go on, Scott, have a guess.
Carnu.
No, it was Lamana Lualua
Blimey.
So
with a
good they named
total
him
of
twice.
7 goals.
Well, I was going to go for 9 again because it wasn't many.
No.
Wow.
All right, Jamie. Jamie, pick a number.
4, please.
Number 4. Oh, number 4. 2002 to 2003, the old First Division.
Oh, God. Give him an easy one.
Let me see. Is it the world's best Bulgarian by any chance?
It certainly is. How many goals did he get?
30? No.
League. It's only league goals.
Is it 26?
Ah, Jamie, it's full house, mate.
Oh,
26
mate, well
goals.
done.
Nice
Okay,
one.
back
Me,
to-
well done.
Back to Scott.
Yep, number 1.
You're going to hate me for this one. This is 2009-2010 season in the Premier League. I was quite surprised at this.
2010. That was our last. That was our final Premier League season, wasn't it?
It was.
So that could, and we didn't score many goals at all. So I'm going to go for. John Utaka.
It was not John Utaka.
Oh, I think he'd left by then, hadn't he?
Picky on?
Peter Crouch.
It wasn't Picquion, but Picquion scored more goals in the cup. He scored an extraordinary number of goals in the cup run.
What about Jamie O'Hara?
It was.
Berkovic? Did he come to us then?
So is that Jamie?
But was it Berkovic?
No. It was the much forgotten Aruna Dindan, who scored 8 goals. And I think he only played 16 games for us.
Yeah.
So Reece, we got 2, 3, 5, 6 and 9 left.
Number 9.
Number 9. 1998-1999 season in the old First Division.
Oh, God. Crikey, was that? So that's 90. So, I don't know. Oh, I'm struggling to get the team in my head there. Paul Hall's a bit too early, isn't he? Because he scored a few, and Dion Burton time. That's a bit. That's much later, isn't it?
You're waffling, Reece. Come on.
I know. I'm just trying to think. Back to that period. John Durnin.
It was not John Durnin, no. Jamie, Scott, any guesses?
I think it's a bit later, but my best guess would be Aloisi.
It was John Aloisi.
Oh, well done.
How many goals, Scott? How many
12.
goals?
12.
14.
14.
Not bad. Okay, we've got 4 left to get now. So, Jamie?
Number 2.
2, 3, 5 and 6 are left.
2, please.
Number 2 is 2017.
Oh God, what's his name? The guy, the balding fella, the amazing striker.
The amazing balding fella, that's the one.
Yeah. Had a few pies. Older player, still playing now. What's his bloody name? Come on, you know what I'm on about.
Everyone's shouting it now, aren't they?
1, 2, 3.
Everyone's shouting it.
His name just escapes me, but I think we know that I know who.
Reece and Scott in unison.
Come on.
Brett Pittman.
Yeah, Brett Pittman. Yeah. 24.
Is he still playing for Portchester?
Yeah,
he's gone down. I think he's gone down to like sort of tier 8 now. Tier 9. He was playing for Bath and Milton Rovers.
I saw him play a game there, and he basically didn't move from the penalty spot for 90 minutes and got a hat trick. It was fantastic. Right, on the home stretch now. So Scott, we want 3, 5 or 6.
6, please.
Number 6, 2016-17 season in League 2.
Promotion season, obviously. I'm going to go for Roberts.
No, it was not right. It was not Gary Roberts.
It was not Gary Roberts.
Yeah. It was not Jamal Lowe. Reece, seeing as you've had a torrid time this evening, I'll give you a clue. His name's come up. His name's come up tonight.
I don't listen to you lot. How the hell would I expect to remember that lot?
I think it was you that brought him up, Reece.
Crikey. Who would have that? Oh, Naismith.
It was Sweary Cow Naismith with 13 goals.
Yeah.
Wow. We spread it across that team that year, didn't we? Because I think Roberts got at least 10, 12.
Yeah.
Chaplin would have got 10, 12. Yeah. Goals.
So Reece, you're back in the hot seat for you got number 3 or number 5.
Number 5, please, Phil.
You have probably picked the right one out of the 2. 96-97 season in the First Division.
That Lee Bradbury or somebody like that?
It is Lee Bradbury, correct. With how many goals do you reckon?
Oh, 15.
It is 15.
Oh,
of the net.
nailed it.
What a
Nailed it.
comeback! And finally, to bring it home, Jamie. I'll give you a clue. I'd forgotten this player even existed.
What year? What year?
It's 2012-2013 season in League One.
Izzy. Is he called Izzy?
Very
Is he?
good.
Is he called Izzy? And is he? Can there be only one of him?
No.
Because he is a McLeod of the Clan McLeod.
Very good, Jamie. Very
Well
good.
done.
How many goals did he get?
9.
He got 10, and I can't remember. And I can't remember any of them.
Well, that was our relegation season, wasn't it? When I think poor old guy Whittingham had to field 90 odd players in a season because we kept having to sign players on for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they'd leave. So yeah, 10 goals in that season is quite an achievement, to be honest. So well done, Isel McLeod. Cheers for that, Phil. That was really good.
No
I hope people played along while they were listening. So we'll wind it up. We've had a bit of a bitty evening tonight, but hopefully in the edit I could sort it all out. So the PST survey's out. The Pompey Supporters Trust Survey is out, asking fans what they think of the club. Hopefully there's some decent points made by fans, but just thought I'd quickly run through the three of us how we think the current state of the club is faring. Really, I mean, I think that the mooted sum is 20 million investment in the infrastructure over the last 2 or 3 years. So, how do we enjoy our Fratton Park experience when we're not losing? Jamie, do you want to go first?
Well, in that case, I've got a quiz for all of you. Then,
Yeah,
I've got my own version of a quiz. What do you guys think I moaned about on the on the Supporters Trust questionnaire? What do you reckon I moaned about?
Oh, I don't know. It could be one of about 23 things, I think. Would it be lack of investment by any chance, or
It might well be. Yeah,
in the playing staff?
Yes, that was it. That was my only complaint. Everything else is going really well, I think.
Yeah. Another article I saw on Facebook today was around the same sort of subject, and people, and I think it was the chief executive was lauding the fact that 20 million pounds had been invested in the infrastructure in the last few years. But the ground looks and feels much better for it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Despite what's happening on the pitch, going to Fratton Park is a much better experience than it was 10 years ago. Yeah,
I think most people would not deny that, and they have invested. They have a lot of money. Although Jamie and I were disagreeing earlier in the season, I think it's certainly shone through that we definitely did not invest properly enough in players in the summer. We might get away with it, we might not. But I mean, I think going back to your original question of what do you think the club is, I think the club's really, really in a better place. Maybe the PST, just considering the amount of investment. I think it's something like, is it like 40 million they put into the club? But I think we're kind of reaching I wouldn't say a tipping point, but in the Championship, it's pretty much you are, unless you're really careful, going to be losing 10, 15 million a year that the owners have to write off for bang average teams. And I think this might be why the Eisners are quite cautious in the way they're playing or paying, should I say. And I agree with that. I'm totally on board with it. I mean, I think there was a question in the survey about, would you rather see owners put a load of money in and then have to pay it off, or run the club sustainably? And I said sustainably, but I think that the Championship is one of those leagues that can absolutely financially swallow you very, very easily if you decide to kind of spend 3, 4, 5 million on players. And there's a massive list of players you can point out in the Championship that have cost 3, 4, 5, 10 million, and when we've played them, they haven't stood out. I mean, they really haven't. So I'm just thankful I've got a club. I like going to the games on Saturday, seeing my friends, having a beer. I'm happy where we are, but it'd be very interesting to see where we go over the next 5-10 years, and whether we can make that incremental improvement. We've got to increase the turnover, get more money from the match day experience, but that costs real money if you're going to redevelop the stadium. So interesting times, but overall, I'm really happy.
Phil, obviously you've got a little bit more insight into exactly how much has been spent and where. I've said this to a couple of people recently. The thing is, since the Eisners took over, the thing that has parroted and is the get out of jail free card for fans and owners alike is that we want to run the club sustainably, and we don't want to put it in any danger. However, is that incompatible with surviving in the Championship? And does the club and the ownership have to have a grown-up conversation about debt on the playing side, because I don't believe for 1 minute that we're not in debt by at least a few million, because some of the accounts have already hinted at that some we've had shortfalls in the last 2 or 3 years, and they've had been made up the owners. So the fact that the club is in debt, at periods, is there going to be need to be a time where we all have a grown-up conversation and say, if we want to succeed in this division, if we stay in it, we're going to have to spend more money?
Well, we're not in debt because we may be running at a loss, but we're not in debt because we don't owe anyone any money. We don't owe the owners money because all of the shortfalls have been made up by the owners putting equity in. So we're not in debt, but we're running at a loss. But everyone in the division is running at a loss. And
I take that point, but I think most fans don't absolutely realise that the club is running at a loss. I think they think that the club is running under its means, and I think that's where the mismessaging is going. Is that if the ISAs are having to fork out 4 or 5 million every season to mitigate that shortfall, then they've already broken their own promise, haven't they?
Their promise was that they were never going to that everything that they were going to put into the club was going to be put in as equity and not debt. So they're not loading the club with debt. So they're not gone back. They've not gone back on their word. The club is being run as close to being sustainable, whatever that means, as they can. But I mean, you ask people 2 questions. You ask them, do you want the club to be run sustainably? Yes, we do. Do you want more money to spend on players? Yes, we do. And with the best in the world, you can't have that because someone's got to pay for these players. Someone's got to pay for these wages, and it's either the owners putting in more and more equity, which they're not obliged to do because it's their money. It's the owners putting in loans to the club, which the bulk of owners do, and that will be putting us into debt. Or it's what they now discovered they keep going the player trading model, but we've yet to see any fruits of the player trading model because we haven't really sold anyone a significant profit. We've not had that sort of £5 million player that we've sold on or whatever. So I think it's only really it will take a couple of years for us to really sort of know how we're going to sort of continue to function in this division. I think we'll stay up. The proof of the pudding will be next season because you've got some big hitters that are going to come up from League One. And there's going to be even more pressure on us. And I think there'll be more pressure on us to unearth sort of gems from Australia and wherever, rather than buying those sort of, £4 or £5 million players that I think a lot of people crave, but don't know where the money's going to come for them.
Yeah. So, Jamie, you were going to say something?
When you say that, Phil, are you including the money that's been spent on the ground and the training grounds? Does that all factor into the loss, or are you just saying that even just the playing staff, we're running at a loss there?
I know the business runs. I think my understanding is the business itself is running at a £1 million a year loss at the moment or whatever. But the shortfall's being picked up from the. So it's not like we're we've taken out a loan from a bank to fill that. It's costing the owners money.
So as a moany old fan, here's my issue with. I think it's amazing that the ground's been done up, and okay, I get it, and I would expect us almost to be running at a loss because of the amount of investment that's gone into the ground and the training facilities. But my issue is that our owners have assets worth over £1 billion. $1 billion. In fact, it's probably, I think it's about £1.5 billion now. I think it's even, it is £1 billion. But they've got £1.5 billion worth of assets. But even if you would say just £1 billion, the interest on that a year is currently 50 million. So even doing nothing, the owner's receiving an extra 50 million a year. He's an old man. He's not got much longer left. At any point, is he going to go? Come on, let's have some fun, And I think there was. I know this is a contrast, and this is probably why he's a billionaire, and I never bloody will be. Is because I think to myself, well, what's the point of making all that money if you can't enjoy it at one point? And I do wonder if. I don't know, maybe he gets his enjoyment out of running it bare bones. I play some championship football manager careers some ways that, I say, no, I'm not going to spend any more money that, and I get that enjoyment out of it. But I do wonder when you've got all of that cash, well, you just wouldn't have, and he doesn't have to put us in debt. Like Phil said, it could be equity. There is nothing to stop our owner going, here you go, here's 50 million quid. You don't owe it back to me. Yeah. Let's spend it. Let's invest. Let's have a big push. And okay, great. And we all say, to me, it's a trope every time I hear, oh yeah, but I'm not putting the debt in club. I'm not putting the debt in club. Yeah, but if you were to sell the club tomorrow, you'd be like, yeah, but I've just put 50 million into this, so now I want 50 million more when I sell it. So to me, it's placating the masses when they say, oh, we're not putting the club in any debt. Yeah, okay, great, you're not putting it. It's wonderful, but when you've got that much money, you can afford to have some fun, and it just really pains on me that our owner doesn't want to.
But I think that's my point. My point is that at some point we're going to have a grown-up conversation about whether they do exactly the same as you say, Jamie. They actually invest 10, 20 million in the playing side and are prepared to write it off, because that's putting the club at a much more operating loss. But those players have value. Players usually lose value unless you get them young and then you develop them and they get more. You sell them for more than you paid for them. But if you look at teams like Birmingham, as you just said, Phil, probably going to come up next season. They spent 10 million on one player in League One. Now, what on earth are they going to do in the Championship?
Well, I think if you believe in this player trading model, at the moment, the player trading model seems to be, well, we'll spend $1 million on one player and hopefully we'll be able to sell him for 5 million. Well, as Jamie says, if you invest £10 million, you can buy 10 £1 million players and sell them for 50 million. So it is a bit of a, speculate to accumulate. I think there seems to be a bit of an impasse between what is investment and what is being shrewd and what is doing things on the cheap. Initially, they thought the way to bring players through was through the academy, because they thought that's cheap. You don't have to buy them, you develop them. Then they realised how much it would cost to run an academy, so that is completely off the table. You could argue understandably, but at the end of the day, if you believe in trading players, you've got to get these players in the first place. And I think they look at clubs like Brentford. I know Brentford is one of the clubs that were very much admired. And you go, well, that's look at them. They're bringing through these players all the time. Yeah, and they invest a lot of money into that system. They invest money into players. They invest money into scouting networks. So it is a case of you have to speculate to accumulate. That's the bit I don't get, and I'm sort of with Jamie on that.
He's never going to do it, and I'll tell you how I know he's never going to do it, because just look at the LA Angels, the club, the baseball club that he owned. You look at what that club achieved. They won the World Series 3 years before he took them over. He took them over, and I think he won the regional finals with them, but he never won the World Series again. And you look at what the fans said about his tenure. Yeah, it was okay. He ran the club stably, but he refused to ever invest in any players. And I tell you that he will sell this club before he ever splurges on it and has some fun.
Reece, I'm going to give you the last word, because you're the one that said that you were voted for sustainability. After hearing all that,
yep.
How do you think we can navigate the next 2 or 3 years if we don't, up our investment in players?
I think all the points made, I think, are absolutely fair, and I think it's not going to be easy. I mean, I don't think he's going to spend a load of money on players, a lot of players, as in 3, 4, 5 million. But he's got a manager there that he clearly believes in. At some point this year, we know we're trying to survive. The longer you're here, the longer you expect to be climbing up the table. You be expecting to develop, and as Phil said, you need money to buy these players or get these players, and we know the is it Cat A academies are like tens of millions to set up and run and things. It's crazy money, and I just think at some point we are going to have to. They must be thinking about where we're going, but I think it's just going to be pretty much of a muchness, some loans, certainly get some more good players, but that's going on with surviving as well. And I just don't think it's going to be easy, because he's not going to spend a lot or risk spending a lot of money on some kind of, say, half decent, stable Championship players like Atkinson, for example. Atkinson would be perfect signing for us, but what's he going to be? He's 26, so he's going to be at least 4 million, 5 million, I would have thought. So
2 or 3 at least, yeah, since he's been out for a long time.
At least, so it's going to be interesting times over the next 2 or 3 years. But we got to survive first. That's the first thing, and then we go from there. But if we have another summer like we did last year, fans aren't going to be happy.
No, absolutely. Right. Well, let's wrap it up. Excellent stuff as always from all of you. Thank you very much on that. This is it's something we're going to, I think, keep coming back to, even if we survive this season. So Leeds on Sunday, Plymouth on Wednesday. Can you give me your thoughts and predictions, please? Reece first.
Leeds will lose 2-0. Plymouth 2-2.
Okay, Phil.
I've got a really funny feeling we're gonna beat Leeds. I've got a really funny. Yeah, I think we're gonna nick it against Leeds, and then I think we are gonna draw with Plymouth.
I see Jamie's got his phone out. He's straight on the betting apps.
No, I'm going to side with Phil on this one. I've already been winding up the Leeds fans who've been saying they're going to get an easy 3 points when they come down to Fratton Park, and I had to remind them they couldn't beat us at Ellen Road, so we're going to make short work of them at the Fortress. Yeah, Plymouth. We always struggle against Plymouth, so yeah, probably a draw or a loss.
Okay, I think the Plymouth goal is massive now that we've hit the injury crisis that we have again. That's one of the 3 games we need to win, and I don't really care what happens on Sunday. I'd be delighted if you're right, Phil. I have a feeling we're going to get easily beaten, unfortunately. But Wednesday's the crucial one. Beat Plymouth. We're down on 42 points, and keeping them down in the bottom 3. 10 points will be ahead, or 10 or 11 points will be ahead of them. So that would be a crucial win on Wednesday. So loss for me on Sunday, win for me on Wednesday. Thank you very much again, guys. It's been absolutely brilliant to chat to you. We'll do this again in a couple of weeks. If you would like to listen to us, we are not only on Spotify, we are on YouTube now. And obviously with YouTube, you can leave some comments, good or bad. So if you fancy doing that, it's entirely up to you. We'd love to hear from you and what you think about the podcast and anything you'd like us to talk about. So I wish you all 3 of you a very good evening and play Up Pompey, and we'll see if all our predictions are good. Cheers, guys. Good night.
Come on, Pompey.
Night.
Good night, guys.